President Trump is working to make sure the subject of Iran does not overshadow his trip to Beijing. But it's bound to be a thorny subject given Beijing's close ties with Tehran.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst joins us live from Tel Aviv with the latest. Good morning, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. President Trump had a message for Chinese President Xi Jinping ahead of his departure to Beijing. The Chinese are the world's largest importer of Iranian crude oil.
What is your message to President Xi as it relates to the Iran war?
Well, I think, number one, we're going to have a long talk about it. I think he's been relatively good, to be honest with you. You look at the blockade, no problems. They get a lot of their oil from that area. We've had no problem, and he's been a friend of mine. He's been somebody that we get along with. And I think you're going to see that good things are going to happen. This is going to be a very exciting trip. A lot of good things are going to happen.
The Middle East remains on edge after the latest efforts for a diplomatic solution with Iran did not pan out. In a post on Truth Social overnight, President Trump said, in part, Iran had 159 ships in their navy. Every single ship is now resting at the bottom of the sea. They have no navy. Their air force is gone. All technology is gone. Their leaders are no longer with us. And the country is an economic disaster. Only losers, ingrates, and fools are able to make a case against America. With an ongoing U.S. military buildup across the region, reports indicate that Saudi Arabia conducted airstrikes against Iran during the war. Fox also reported on Tuesday the UAE took part at the end of Operation Epic Fury. The Iranians have continued their threatening language, worried that a bombing campaign will resume.
I can assure you that our armed forces are prepared for every scenario. I'm sure that anyone who dares to put their foot in Iran's territory, they would be badly regretted.
Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is holding a security assessment, so his forces are prepared if the war resumes. Guys?
What is your sense, Trey? The war is going to resume?
It's hard to tell. Ultimately, President Trump will make that decision, but the Iranians have not shown a good faith effort at the negotiating table to reach a deal. It's very clear. The president has said Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That means they can't enrich uranium. They have to get rid of the centrifuges. The already highly enriched uranium at 60% purity that was buried in the aftermath of Operation Midnight Hammer has to be exported from the country, and they have to open the Strait of Hormuz. This is a critical waterway that accounts for 20% of the oil flow for the entire world, and the Iranians are holding it hostage. They are, as Secretary Rubio has called it, using an economic nuclear weapon against the world. And the president isn't going to stand for it. The Iranians aren't going to be able to control the strait. They're not going to be able to impose tolls on vessels that are passing through. And they have to let these ships that are currently trapped in the Persian Gulf go to their final destinations. And so at this point, the U.S. military buildup continues. The Israeli military is on high alert. And if the president orders strikes against the Iranian regime, regional sources do believe there is a path forward here that doesn't include a deal that continues to weaken the Islamic Republic and the officials in Tehran so that they have to come to the negotiating table in the future.
So, Trey, we're in a ceasefire, quote unquote, but we saw some movement from the Gulf states, one particular. Are you hearing on the ground that more of them are going to get involved from an offensive standpoint like we saw yesterday?
The short answer is yes, and recent reports indicate both Saudi Arabia and the UAE conducted strikes against the Islamic Republic during Operation Epic Fury. And when you think about what happened here, I spoke with President Trump earlier in the conflict, and he told me he was most surprised by the fact that these Gulf countries, uninvolved Gulf countries, were coming under Iranian missile and drone attack. And the Iranians haven't stopped these attacks. As recently as early this week, you saw Kuwait and the UAE working to shoot down incoming Iranian drone fire. Iranian proxies across the region, including Hezbollah, continue to fire on U.S. ally Israel, and the Iranians appear unwilling to make a deal. And as these Gulf countries come under attack, it leaves them with no choice but to get more directly involved, understanding that they are on defense, shooting down this incoming Iranian fire. And despite the fact that the successful U.S. naval blockade remains in place, the Iranians are using these coastal military installations in cities like Bandar Abbas to threaten the region.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Trey.
Trey.
President Trump said right before he left, he said, either we make a deal with Iran or they're decimated. He said, that's not on my agenda for President Xi when I go to China. We'll see.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.